Welcome to the Syscom Cybercast. Today's episode is episode 3 in our podcast series. It's going to be a short podcast today. I just want to give some tips on behavioral health compliance topics, specifically HIPAA compliance and how it relates to technology. Um, so, just kind of going high level into it over some of the categories and different things to look for. The first thing to really look for is having a business associate agreement or a BAA with your technology service providers. In the case of behavioral health, probably the number one software that is going to house PHI and it is subject to the HIPAA compliance is your EHR. Having that BAA with your EHR vendor is paramount and it's extremely important to attesting for your HIPAA compliance. Also, with these service providers that you have BAAs with, do make sure that your use case is correct. One thing to really look for, especially in communication tools that say they're HIPAA compliant, the use case that that tool is used in may not be HIPAA compliant. So, for instance, if a provider is trying to communicate with a patient, you really want them mostly doing that through the EHR, possibly through that communication module, not something like a Teams or a Slack or Google Chat, any of those items. So something may say it's HIPAA compliant, but really the use case is not. So that's another thing to look out for. Make sure that your end users are using those technologies as intended. Also, make sure the level of service you have with your technology is meets those HIPAA requirements. Some things, you know, are or some technologies I would say have a level of service that is HIPAA compliant. Something like we see a lot at Syscom is the faxing. A lot of people, want to implement faxing and they want to send patient data. You would want that to make sure that that faxing module has the HIPAA compliant module and that it's being used to send or transmit any patient data. Say you have to send something to a hospital for a patient at your practice. You want to make sure that that is all through HIPAA compliant channels. Another item to really look out for, and some of these are kind of first line of defense, would be your access controls. Really, the main one of those is multi-factor authentication. These are default now for technologies. Really, it is the standard. If you do not have something with multi-factor authentication on it, you're really putting yourself at risk of breach, and you're definitely not HIPAA compliant. So that is something. Turn that on where you can. Make sure that it's turned on, on your EHR if possible. If it's not, if it doesn't seem possible, I would reach out to the support and make sure that that is something you can turn on and see what your options are. Also, having items like data loss prevention and those things turned on are very important as well. You want to have good audit control as well within your technology stack. Make sure that you're able to pull logs and see, if there was an event, what happened. Having a SIM deployed as well, you're getting alerts about different things that seem kind of out of place, are all best practices in today's world, especially with cybersecurity. And all of these are items that HIPAA states and wants you to have. Um, Getting these items in a technology stack is really something you would do through a managed service provider like Syscom. And again, we are definitely geared and focused on behavioral health. It is something we could help people navigate through. So if there's somebody out there listening today, um, definitely give us a call and we can discuss how to face your HIPAA compliance factors. And the last thing I'll kind of go on, and this is one that we really see in is it seems simple, but it's difficult sometimes when you're trying to utilize space. When we're seeing a customer, their networking and vital data, you know, infrastructure is not behind lock and key. It's kind of out in the open. Um, to be HIPAA compliant, you need safeguards around all those items. You need locked access areas. You need to access log who's in and out of certain areas. It's very, very important. So when you're maybe moving into a new space or you're talking about remodeling a space, or you're doing just an audit of your IT infrastructure, that's one of the first things to check and make sure. And if it's not behind those type of safeguards, you really want to plan on getting it, or do the best you can, give a best effort to at least log who's coming in and out of the area. And we always would say, when we're talking to a customer, especially on new construction or remodeling, we're always looking at floor plans and we're saying, hey, is there an IT closet? If there is, can we make sure that there's lock and key on the door, and those type of things, because all that information is vital. It's best practice, and it's going to help you stay HIPAA compliant. So again, this is a short podcast today. I just wanted to touch on some of these subjects. They've been very topical, as we've been talking to our customers and business reviews and different things, and we're always, making sure that we're trying to help protect our customers and make sure they're staying HIPAA compliant when they're dealing with PHI. So, if you'd like to find out more about this topic, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to discuss it with you, and how it relates to your organization. Um, and we'll touch on some more compliance issues and go further into HIPAA in the coming weeks. I just wanted to get our podcast out this week. These were, some high level points that I wanted to discuss. So not too long this week. It's Friday. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll talk to everybody next weekend next week when we discuss some more compliance and technology issues of facing behavioral health. I'm Chris, and this has been the Syscom Cybercast. Thanks.